All right, I got a bet for you I'm going to make. Give me Rantanen to score a power play point, Draisaitl to have 4 shots on goal, and Seguin to have 2 shots on goal. Those all hit. That's a plus 692.
Oh, that's good juice. That is good juice. And very probable. Very probable.
Yeah, that's an easy one, I think.
Nice. Friends, countrymen, and fellow degenerates, welcome back to this episode of Bets and Buds. We the Buds helping you cash your bets. I am Jason Smoking Token.
I'm Bobby Light.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. We've got another conference final night. We had one hell of a night last night.
Yes, we did.
Bobby, you had a bet last night, did you?
I did hit on a bet last night. It was like plus 925, I think.
Plus 925. Yeah. That's a good hit on that Stars-Oilers game. That was a hell of a game.
Shit, I'd have to pull it back up. I don't remember. It's just a little 3-banger, though.
Right, 3-bang parlay. That's always good for 925. That never hurts. Never hurts.
I got another one, and I'll key in on that later.
All right. Well, since we're talking about hockey, let's go ahead and dive into it.
Let's start a little hockey. So, the other night, Florida and Carolina opened up in their first game of that Eastern Conference Finals, and Florida just dominated. Yeah. And you can tell that team, that they really are. They're just bigger, faster, stronger. Yeah. That's a tenacious team.
It is. I think Carolina is screwed because what happened at the end of the game, once Florida jumped up, they started pounding and beating on them. That slap shot by who's the
Ghost-a-Bear?
Yeah, Ghost-a-Bear. Yeah, so he's not a known tough guy at all, as we saw.
Yeah, and then to shoot at Marchand.
Shoot that shot at Marchand. I don't think I've ever seen a shot of anything like that in hockey.
Only a couple of times. It's very rare that a player will deliberately
right at somebody, especially from that close range, man. That wasn't even like, that was like a...
And he got him pretty high in the chest, too. Yeah. So,
and Marchand beat the shit out of him. He did. It was...
So, what's going to happen is in that series, even though Carolina's defensive structure is so sound, the Panthers are just gonna pound them into the wall.
And it looks like the goalie's weak on the glove side.
He is. Florida, they don't have to get a whole lot of shots on goal. They really haven't. Mm-hmm. Carolina doesn't give up a whole lot of shots on goal. Florida's just got to dig it in there, dig it out of the corner, get it to the front of the net. Kachuk, Bennett, all them guys.
And you think so? And the thing is, Rod Brindamore, who's the coach there, won a Stanley Cup with the Hurricanes.
With the Hurricanes,
he actually was started his career with the Blues.
He did.
I remember it was like 19-year-old Rod Brindamore.
One of the terrible trades that.
Yeah, that was another horrible trade. Who they traded to the Flyers? I think it was.
Flyers. And I couldn't even tell you who we got for him.
Oh, nobody can. Nobody can because it was nothing to remember for sure.
Yeah, I couldn't even tell you.
But the thing is, like they say, that's his main problem. He always gets that team there. I want to say they're 0-13 in the last conference finals games that they made it to.
Probably.
Yeah, or maybe it was 0-13. I think it was 0-13. I think in the last conference
very
finals.
Well could be
after that loss. So but they say he doesn't change his system no matter who he plays against, and that kind of reminds me of the old Marty Schottenheimer, why Schottenheimer never won in the playoffs with the Chiefs
because he would refuse
to adjust, and that's what made Bill Belichick so great was because he would adapt to the teams that he was playing, and especially in a 7-game series. You just have to make those changes.
Well, even look at La Russa here for us. He was able to over the years to morph how he looked at the game of baseball.
Exactly.
That's what made him so successful.
Yeah, you have to be adaptive as a coach. You just have to. So, and that game last night, that was a hell of a game.
Okay, so Edmonton jumps out to the early 3-1 lead. They're cruising, looking like they're going to cruise to an easy victory after 2 periods, and then the Stars just came out, 3 power play goals.
Yeah.
But once again, it comes down to that goaltending, and that Edmonton, I just don't think Stuart Skinner is just that great of a goaltender.
Especially how well Otter's playing right now too. And Dallas's offense looks potent, especially when they're getting into special teams.
This is a rematch of last year. These teams obviously know each other very well. And the funny thing was, even though Edmonton won that series, they did win that series last year. They shut out Dallas's power play. Dallas did not score a power play goal in all 6 games last year.
Really?
So they've already scored 3.
Yeah.
If they figured out that penalty kill, this is going to be a quick series.
5 goals in the third period.
Yes,
man.
5 goals.
5 goals in the third period.
Now, we've seen that a couple of times in this playoff, more than a handful of times. Edmonton's done it a couple of times where these teams are putting up 4 or 5 goals in a period.
Yeah, this is a great Stanley Cup playoffs. I'm not gonna lie. It always is, but this has been a really, really good one.
I fully expect Edmonton to come out firing tomorrow. But if they don't win this game at home tomorrow, it's going to be really tough.
It's going to be tough to beat Dallas going down 0-2 at home. Because Dallas is a very, very solid team with a solid goaltender who is hungry right now.
Oh, yeah. Ottinger's playing really well.
Yeah, Otter's he's balling right now. So,
yes, he is.
Yeah, that's going to be tough to overcome.
So, I said my prediction last week, but I'll say it again. Dallas, Florida. I like that.
Dallas, Florida. Final. Yeah, I think that'll be a hell of a final too, because you're gonna have two good. We got Bobrovsky at goal, and you got Otter at goal too as well. So that's gonna be great goaltending. Two physical teams that also have very skilled 5-on-5 play and power play. So that's gonna be a very exciting final if it gets to that. Because Florida right now looks like they're gonna.
Yeah, it's one game. Nobody's out.
No, nobody's out. But I'm telling you right now, I think Carolina lost that series last night because just the fact that when what's his name? That shot the puck? Ghost-a-Bear. So when Ghost-a-Bear shot the puck, hits Marchand, then after that, they get into a fight. Marchand beats the shit out of him. On top of that, did you see any of his teammates in sight anywhere? Nobody wanted any of that smoke with anybody on that team.
Usually something like that happens in playoff hockey.
It's going to be a brawl.
Everybody's involved.
Especially when you're getting blown out.
Tussling, giving them the old stink face.
Yeah, and then we're going to say, all right, we're going to do this in game 2, type of thing. But I saw no action after that. So for me, as far as I'm concerned, I see this being a gentleman's sweep at worst.
No, you're probably right.
The Panthers.
The Panthers really are just that good.
Yeah, they are. They're a very good team. And like I said, again, they kind of alphaed last night. That was where they're good full alpha. All right, so let's jump into the association, which was another great night last night.
Oh, what a hell of a game.
Oh, my gosh. What a great Buckets, baby. Buckets. Can you meet the bounce on that shot? First off.
Yeah, because it bounces off the screen.
Yeah, it bounces off up into the air at least. Had to have been 15 to 20 feet.
I haven't seen a different angle. Have you?
I haven't seen a different. I've seen the same angle. Yeah, I've seen the same angle.
It totally bounces off the screen. It's like, holy crap, he missed it.
Straight up in the air and down. And some people brought up a good point that his toe being on the line, that might have been a 3 right there to win the game if he had been behind the line. Because he hit it long.
A swish.
Yeah, because he hit it long, so that probably would have been a swish on that shot. But Halliburton has been balling. Like we talked about it, he's been clutch. They got Jalen Brunson in a binder right now, where he's the pressure that they're putting on him to full court wise to bring the ball all the way up, and they run 11 deep. So the Knicks they wore them down because the Knicks were dominating that game. That was one of the biggest comebacks in
that first period, because we were watching it last night, and the Pacers come out, they hit their first 9 shots, and they had a good run at the beginning of that game, and then like you said, the Knicks
started enforcing their will,
going, and they were playing defense. Keeping the Pacers from running up and down the court like they like to do, and then they built that big lead, and that is they said it's the biggest, the most points ever scored in NBA history inside of 2 minutes and
for the comeback. Seconds. That was one of the biggest comeback with 3 minutes left, I believe, in the game. So it was huge. Because the thing is, the Pacers play a relentless style of basketball. They stay on you and on you and on you, and they're not afraid of the big moments. You got a lot of guys with big buckets. Because I think what's his name, Miles Turner. Miles Turner's a big player for them. He did not play a lot of minutes, and I think he played 2 minutes in the fourth quarter, just because of the fact that he just wasn't in the groove of the game. But then what was his name?
Nesmith.
Yeah, Nesmith. Yeah, Nesmith was. He just they couldn't find him. And honestly, when you think back when we talked about the Celtics series, so when the Celtics and the Knicks played, the Celtics actually had. They were just missing shots because they had 45% of their shots were wide open threes, which means you got 6 feet of space to shoot the ball.
And they did not shoot well.
But the Pacers did. And so if the Knicks are going to continue to play this type of defense where they get worn down and they're tired and they can't recover on defense, the Pacers are going to be a hard out, man. This is going to be a do or die game for the Knicks for this game 2 here.
Because they started home last night.
Oh yeah, that was a sweet celebration. If only it had been for the 3 with the choke. Repeat the Reggie Miller. Shout out to Reggie Miller. Choke sign for him. Thank God they won the game. Who was
actually on the call.
Yeah, exactly. It was just awesome game. It's gonna be an amazing series. So we got a big game 2 tonight with the Nuggets and the Timberwolves.
No, OKC.
I'm sorry. Yeah, no.
OKC
that's right. Yeah, OKC in Minnesota. Yeah, that's right.
OKC blew Minnesota out in that first game. Minnesota's just do they really have the firepower to run?
Well, Minnesota was doing okay in the game. Actually, it looked like they were going to win in the first half, or at least had control of the game. It was going to be a tight game. And then Anthony Edwards rolled his ankle.
Oh, okay.
So he didn't break it. Rolled his ankle.
I did not watch.
Yeah. He rolled his ankle, and so he had to leave the game for a while. Somehow came back in the game, but I mean, it was already too far of a stretch. I know we got Shane Gilchrist Alexander. They're saying that he's probably what they call him, a free throw merchant. Because he
Oh yeah, with his feigned.
Yeah, a lot of his fake foul. But again, the refs, if they're going to give it to you,
if they see it, if that's what they're seeing, that's damn good acting.
Yeah, if the refs going to give it to you, you got to go for it. So that's just how it is. But it's going to be a good series, I think, going forward. We'll see what Anthony Edwards has coming into action tonight. So.
Okay.
All right. So the next up, we got Cardinals baseball, huh?
So the surprising Cardinals, even they just come off a series with the Tigers that they lost 2 out of 3. Didn't look competitive really in the 2 losses, but the Tigers pitching their starting pitching is really, really good, and they have the best record in the American League. Right. So you can hang your hat on it. You got one of them. Well,
in the second game, actually, they battled back into it, and they actually tied the game up late. And then
it was that third game.
Yeah, it was the third game. Third game, they really weren't competitive in that one. But, that's baseball, baby. That's just,
Oh, so the Cardinals sitting they played 50 games right now. They're 27-23, and like you said, this is the weekend because they've got a couple of big games coming up.
Yeah, who do they have? The Diamondbacks this weekend,
They got the Diamondbacks, and they're going on the road, Diamondbacks, and then they go play the Rangers.
Yeah, so that's going to be 2 tough games. Tough series.
Yeah, 2 tough series. So, yes, they're 3 back of the Cubs right now on this as it sits. So, they're in good position. They're in good position. Donovan leading the club with 61 hits. I know he's got to be in the top 5 in the major leagues up there. You've got Nootbaar leading the team with 31 runs. Donovan's got 16 doubles. Is he the new Matt Carpenter?
He might be the new Matt Carpenter with I don't know. Actually, Matt Carpenter was good. He was a great player. Who just retired actually a couple weeks ago.
He did.
So shout out to Matt Carpenter, because Matt Carpenter actually he got a lot of hate at the end of his career.
There was some big moments.
And he wasn't expected to ever be that. He far surpassed anything of what his major league career was projected to be.
And then you got Nootbaar leading the team with 7 home runs out of that leadoff spot.
Yeah, Arenado got one the other night, too.
Yes, he did.
So that was good. Hopefully, maybe he get his bat going.
I think he's up to 4 now.
Yeah, if he gets his bat going with all the other things that have been going on well with the Cardinals, Ivan Herrera hitting well, Wilson Contreras playing a great first base and hitting well. Mason Wynn looks like he's following up his rookie campaign with a solid performance again this season, playing great defense, too, as well. So if the pitching can stay on track, I like the way this Cardinals team projects going forward.
Right now, Sonny Gray's 5-1. He gets a lot of run luck.
Yeah, he does. He gets a lot of run support.
When the Cardinals, he gets really good run support. 61 strikeouts for Gray. Libator still keeping that ERA still under 3.
Yeah,
2.29. He's still leading the major leagues in walk rate.
Walk ratio.
Yeah. So but this is the surprising one right here. Steven Matz, 31 innings so far this year. He's had a couple of spot starts, mostly coming out of the bullpen in long relief. 1.74 ERA in 31 innings.
Yeah,
he's been shut down.
Yeah, we traded for him a few years back, or was it traded? Or was it a free agent signing?
We signed him for a free agent.
Yeah, free agent signing. Yeah,
this is his last season, I believe.
Yeah, so if we get a good solid bullpen, because he was hurt a lot during this contract, so if we get a good solid bullpen performance from him through the entire season, we could say, overall that was it was a good signing.
Yeah, you can't. If you look at his results when he is healthy, he does actually pitch pretty good.
Yeah. So can't say that was a bad signing at all. So go Cards. Let's see what happens.
Go Cards. Arizona this weekend, and then the Texas Rangers next.
And so while we're talking about baseball, let's talk about the travesty, because we haven't covered this, and we missed this last week. But Pete Rose being eligible for the Hall of Fame along with Shoeless Joe Jackson. I see what baseball's trying to do, but shame on you, baseball, for waiting until he died.
Right.
This is all-time hits leader. This is Charlie Hustle. Player manager. Then when it morphed into a manager later on after being a player manager. Pete Rose was baseball. You can't tell the story of baseball without Pete Rose.
Oh, no.
So, I just say shame on baseball for that, for waiting until he died in order to put him into the Hall of Fame.
The thing
or
is,
even make him eligible, because he's not put in yet.
If you had to think, you don't have to like the person to appreciate what he was able to do on a baseball field. Like, he probably wasn't a good human being.
Who knows?
But you know what? I don't know. I didn't know Pete Rose.
That's why they have the statement separate the art from the artist. Because, right. I mean, most of the people that we would like to glorify that we think are great people are not
very good people.
That's why they say be careful of meeting your heroes, because a lot of times you're going to be disappointed,
right.
typically. So, I mean, but that's neither here nor there. I mean, like the National Football League, that's why I respect their Hall of Fame so much, because the character issue doesn't get based on if you're getting inducted into the Hall of Fame,
right.
because either you're a Hall of Famer or you're not. Like the character, because let's be honest, if we go through back in the history of baseball, as far as I was told, Ty Cobb killed a man.
Yeah,
and so now some way he's in the Hall of Fame. So because the things weren't so publicized, and I get it, betting that was the most ultimate faux pas, but he wasn't betting against his team to lose and then making them lose.
Right.
He was betting on his team to win.
No, Pete Rose didn't want to lose.
Especially the way how prominent gambling is now in sports as we move forward. I mean, so I think just shame on Major League Baseball that they made the man wait until after he died for him to even be eligible to go into the Hall of Fame. Because, I mean, I think you just can't tell that.
Yeah, because he's still got to be voted in.
Yeah, he's still got to be voted in by the writers, and we know how some of these guys were right on their high horses, and they're holier than thou.
People have already come out and blasted Pete Rose and saying how they would never vote for him. So.
You know what was funny? Yeah, exactly. And so what was funny was, so I watched, director Dave always give him shit because one of his heroes was Brett Favre.
Yes.
And so I watched that Untold documentary the other night.
I did as well.
And shame, Brett Favre. But we knew these things. I always said he was a piece of shit, and that was just because of like certain things that I saw with Brett Favre through his career, from the sexting the girl and all that.
Right.
But while watching that documentary, it was funny because one of these journalists, or let's call him a broadcaster, or whatever, news anchor, whatever he may be, one of the guys who was talking when he sent the dick pic to the Jenny Sturgeon girl.
The Sturgeon.
Yeah, so like Matt Lauer, defamed Matt Lauer from the Today Show, was one of the people they showed a clip of commenting on how horrible it was that Brett Favre said that as this dude had a button on it to lock the door of his office up in the morning show or Today Show offices.
Oh, the hypocrites are real.
Oh yeah. So I mean, it's so that's where I get frustrated when you listen to this, because they were acting like they're doing a good thing, because they had to embrace gambling, because he's passed away. I mean, I guess if they're doing it for his family to kind of honor his family, if they're going that route and the family's happy with it, I'm happy for him if he gets in. I'm just sad that Pete Rose wasn't able to be witness to that.
Oh, there's money to be made off his name.
Oh yeah, exactly, and they don't have to give him any of it. But hopefully they work something out and they do what's right and take care of the family. All right, so then the next thing up was Jim Irsay. Jim Irsay, the longest tenured owner of the NFL, passed away at 65 years old yesterday afternoon. Of the Colts, the Baltimore Colts that moved to Indianapolis. Mm-hmm. Jim Irsay's father owned the team. He was, they basically, he grew up in football. Right. Grew up in the locker room. He did every job within that organization. But shout out to his dad for raising him right in that capacity. He may have been an asshole in many other aspects in his life, but most people that get to those positions don't do it by being nice guys. And so, but he got his son to where his son was a towel boy, as a young kid, and helped him run around the locker room, cleaning up the dirty underwear and jock straps and all that different things. And so he felt like a deep ingrained part of that organization. Like I said, being a long tenured owner of the NFL, and for what I think overall was a good owner. Because, I mean, when you talk about how charitable, I guess we talk about Brett Favre, and his stealing ways and everything like that, Jim Irsay was the exact opposite of that, because he was very charitable. Jim Irsay gave away a lot of money to people on a lot of consistent basis. I mean, and it's very well documented how charitable he was. So shout out to Jim Irsay. Condolences to the family on that end. But
who is set up to take over that team?
His daughter. I think it's Carly Irsay is her name, and I think she's been, because I know they had reports of a couple years ago her just even sitting on the sideline with headsets on, obviously not interjecting in the game, but just to kind of get a feel for what's going on in football, because her dad grew up around it, and so he knew the game inside and out. Even though he always trusted people to do the job outside of that, he didn't seem like a meddling owner like we talk about Jerry Jones and things that like how he runs his organization. Right. So, but he still knew a lot about football. And he could have been one of those overbearing owners, even like Al Davis, who was a guy who knew a lot about football and was an overbearing owner to a certain degree. So,
just win, baby.
Yep, just win, baby. And you couldn't run. I remember I like to listen to a lot of Michael Lombardi. And like when he had his show GM Shuffle before him and Bill Belichick went to North Carolina, and he talked about that. He's like, man, Like the one day, like half the team when we would have a loss on the road, Al Davis would get on the plane. All of the coaching staff would sit in fake sleep in the front of the plane because they knew that if they stayed awake, Al Davis was going to give it to them. So shout out to Jim Irsay for being a long pioneer in the NFL, getting it to the point that it is today, being the big business, a big boom on that.
And we're closer.
Yes, and we are closer.
We are closer to football season.
OTAs have wrapped up here. They have wrapped up. So, shout out to the NFL coming back around. And, these playoffs, we got to get a run. And before long, it's just going to be baseball.
All right, I got a bet for you I'm going to make. Give me Rantanen to score a power play point. Draisaitl to have 4 shots on goal. And Seguin to have 2 shots on goal. Those all hit. That's a plus 692.
Oh, that's good juice. That is good juice. And very probable. Very probable.
Yeah, that's an easy one, I think.
Nice. Any MotoGP? Oh, well, we got the Indy 500 this weekend.
Yes, we have the Indy 500 this weekend. I could not tell you who was racing in it.
Kyle Larson. KY is racing. If there's racing, it's KY is probably in it too.
I have not actually watched an Indy 500 in a long time. I used to love watching it as a kid.
Dave and I talked about this the other day. That's the only reason why I give shit about the MotoGP, because, I love sports of all kinds. I've tried to watch racing. Every form of racing in my life I've tried, man. And every time I just can't do it. I just can't do it.
Well, they're racing in Britain this weekend.
The MotoGP?
MotoGP in Britain this weekend. How many hours ahead?
Around that roundabout by Big Ben?
No. Sorry.
They don't race through the streets?
3.5 mile track with 18 curves.
Oh, wow. All right. You heard it from Dave right there.
Is that what's the average on curves in the race?
Around 15.
15?
Oh, some more curves. You're getting more curves than normal.
So they do you can't bet on MotoGP.
No.
I was going to say, is there
we haven't been able to find it.
Not here.
You can't find where it's at, yeah. I was going to say, is there an over-under on how many curves in the race before the race?
No, because they don't ever change.
All right, that's all I got, boys.
That's all I got.
Because I'm not going to talk about my first world problems that I had today. So
nobody wants to
hear shit about that. So, all right, man. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. Add to the comments section. Shout out to Director Dave for keeping us up on the ones on twos. True on the track for blessing those beats. I'm Jason Smoking Token.
I'm Bobby Light.
We'll see you next week.
Peace.